Okay, we should be live streaming here momentarily.
Yeah.
So happy Monday, everybody. Hope you are all doing well. Welcome back. I am Vigil. I am so excited to be with you today on this magnificent Monday. I am your International Women Empowerment Business Coach. And all month long, we have been hosting phenomenal women from around the globe talking to us about money matters. Wealth building, investing, finance, accounting, you name it, money mindset. It's just been such a phenomenal opportunity. I was just speaking with our featured speaker for today, Miss Diana, and about how this gives us such a wonderful opportunity to connect, not only to bring awareness to our fundraiser that our goal is to raise $5,000 for the Young Woman Entrepreneur Education Foundation. And during that process, I get to meet some phenomenal women who are just always so willing to share and to put their information out there and to talk to us about their businesses and all of the amazing things that they do. We are doing this program for the third year in a row because I think what's really important is that we destigmatize the fact that only a small population of us get to know about wealth, money, finance, etc. I think that it's so important that we continue to have these conversations, especially we do this during the whole month of May, Monday through Friday, one speaker every day, to really empower you to understand that you do have the right to understand about your finances, about your family's finances. What inspired this conversation 3 years ago was when I read Carrie Schwab Pomerantz's book, How to Talk to Your Family About Money. And it was just such an eye-opening opportunity for myself. I bought the book a couple of times and I thought, you know what, we need to have these conversations on a regular basis. So then we started doing the May Money Talks Mastermind program. And for the third year now, we are so honored to be bringing on amazing businesswomen of diversity whose specialty it is to talk to you about money, finance, wealth building. And today is certainly right along those lines as well. So I would like to welcome and introduce, let me get her awesome bio because I love to give recognition to all of these amazing women. So Miss Diana Frick is coming to us from Houston, Texas, right?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Houston. She is the owner and financial coach of Wealth Worthy Life. I love the name of her business. So check her out at wealthworthylife.com. Diana Frick is a financial coach and founder of Wealth Worthy Life, where she helps her clients create a plan for their money that makes them excited about their future. She does this through one-to-one coaching in order to transform people's behaviors and habits and achieve long-lasting change. Diana is on a mission to see more women succeed with their money so they can enjoy the life they worked so hard to create. As a first-generation immigrant, she saw firsthand how her parents made so many sacrifices to give their children a happy life and a new opportunity. Seeing this inspired her to want to do more with her money and not waste the opportunities that she has. She now enjoys financial independence and in her spare time, loves spending time with her family in Houston, Texas. What you are going to learn today is how seeing your money clearly can be so powerful, how to create a plan that makes you feel grounded no matter what happens in life or business, roadblocks you may encounter as you implement and how to overcome them. And overall, our topic today is pay yourself consistently, even with variable income. Please welcome the awesome Diana Frick to the program. Good morning.
Hi, good morning, Vihil. Thank you so much for having me and being part of this May Money Talks Mastermind. So let me start off by sharing my presentation. Let's see
and
here.
I will go ahead and monitor any sort of conversation or chat that we have on our Facebook live stream. And if you're catching the video later on our YouTube channel, make sure that you're commenting and I will ensure Diana gets back to you.
All right, are you able to see my screen?
Yes.
Okay, perfect. All right. So yes, like we have mentioned, today we're going to talk about paying yourself consistently, even with variable income. So Vihil kind of mentioned in my bio about kind of what started me on this path really was I started off first with seeing my own parents and their own financial journey, and me as a first generation immigrant really being involved with helping them through that. And it started with, translating documents and things like that. And then it turned into really doing much more than that. But I will tell you that experience that helped me to start off early in my own finances because I saw how important it was for them. And so as a teenager, I helped them like with investing. And then once I went to college, I was able to invest a little bit there. And then once I graduated college, I graduated with no student loan debt. Then a couple years into my career, I was able to purchase my first home. Then years later, got married. My husband and I bought a home together and we paid off the mortgage. So we're completely debt free, including no mortgage. And I'm just so proud of all of that, my whole journey and what I've been able to accomplish up to this point. And it's what has led me to, this idea of having this business and being a financial coach and helping others do the same to reach what their version of a wealthy life can be. So I'm really honored to be here today to share something that can definitely help you on your own journey.
Absolutely. Give us a little bit also about what got you to becoming this financial coach that you that you are doing now. Like, how did you decide to make this journey into having this be your career?
Well, I saw that there was a lot of education out there, financial education and free education, but I saw that too many weren't really maybe implementing it. And with coaching, I feel like it helps someone really change their behaviors with money. And also I've noticed even with myself, growing up as a Latina woman, having some of that mindset as I grew up with my parents, one of the main ones, like scarcity, right? And so even like having to unwind that as I got older, and even as working through my business, I saw how, just being able to unwind that can help people progress much faster to creating a life that they want. So I felt like coaching was the thing that can really help so many more people. And not many women and Latinas are in the financial industry. So I felt like, I have to be part of this. I want to be part of that change to help more women out there, because maybe, Latinas, maybe like for me, really, when I started looking for my own people to, for my team to, help me with my own finances, I felt like it was a lot of old white men. And what do they know about my finances? Like, besides just the number, because it's not just about the numbers, there's so much more to that. And it's like having that trust with that person. Like, I can have a good conversation with somebody else and I know what they're going through as far as a Latina woman goes and their background and how, because I relate to that. So I want to be there. I want to be somebody out there that, can be a resource for somebody who needs a little bit more help, more, help with the change that they want to create for themselves.
I'm so glad that you've chosen this line of work.
Thank you.
Absolutely. I will have you get to your awesome presentation. I just wanted to touch base on that really quickly so we could put that out there. Thank you for sharing that.
Sure. All right. So here's what I see a lot of people struggle with. They make good money, but it just feels like feast or famine. There's the uncertainty of the future, and just inconsistent income makes things, planning difficult. Then the complexity of our money just gets us discouraged to even get started. But here's the thing, you won't feel better about your money until you stop reacting. So my promise to you today is to give you a few strategies that can take you from financial frustration to being more empowered with confidence to finally take control of your money. So I have a 6-year-old, and she talks about when she grows up, she wants to draw and she wants to be an artist. And I see how enthusiastic she gets about that, like about that possibility in the future. And I feel like we all start that way, but with that, a desire within us. But then along the way, we lose it somehow. And maybe it's because sometimes people talk about, what's realistic, stick with what's realistic. But today, I really want you to dream big. Don't limit yourself. True innovation happens really from not looking from at what's been created in the past, but looking forward and what could be. So today I want to present you with a few questions as you dream big, which are, what would you love your business to look like? What would that do for you? How would that impact your family? How would it impact your customers? Take some time to really think about these questions, because here's the thing, sometimes we get into the weed of things and don't pause for a moment to check in with ourselves and with our own vision, because it can change from time to time. So it's good to check in with ourselves, see where we are. And this right here, I mentioned this because it will serve as a guide and as motivation as you work through the process of getting all your finances in order. So make sure to take some time to just think through these questions. So when it comes to anything with money, you got to know what you're working with. You got to know your numbers. And here's something that can happen. You might be scared to even look at it because you might make the numbers mean something about you as a business owner. If you see that maybe you're not on track towards your goals. So just think about looking at your numbers as just pure data. That's it. It's separate from you, your business, and you are separate. You know you're a valuable human being, that you have your own skills, and you have value. And your business is something you're still working on. Maybe if you're still starting out, you're still learning. So try to see it as just pure data, because sometimes we tend to, you don't want to look at it because you're scared of what you're going to see. So here's the thing, there's no point on dwelling on the past, because then that keeps you from focusing on this moment where you actually make a change. And it's really is about just taking the emotions out of the numbers so you can focus more on what you want to accomplish this year. That's just something I want to make sure you can hear, because there is some emotion sometimes when it comes to looking at our money. Now, here's some questions I want you to think through as you're looking at your numbers. How much are your living expenses? So if you don't have a spending plan or a budget or anything like that, make sure to get started on that. That provides so much clarity as you're working with the personal numbers and the business numbers. Now, if you also have a spouse that is bringing in money, it's good to know how much of the expenses they're covering. So keep that in mind. Maybe it might not be as much that you think you need. Figure out what they're covering and what you're covering. Then where is your money coming from? Is it project-based, retainer, or their physical products? Sometimes it's like looking at that seasonality, getting an idea for that. And then of course your business expenses. Make sure to keep a list of all the business expenses. And now if you have it somehow combined with your personal expenses, now's a good time to keep it separate. Highlight with one color all the personal expenses and then all the business expenses with a different color, and make sure to get that separate, because that's so much easier to keep track of just by separating them. So in order for you to create a plan that works for you, there are several decisions that you'll need to make beforehand, and I'll walk you through that. So figure out what you want to pay yourself and the frequency. And you'll have a better idea of what to pay yourself because you looked at your personal finances and you're aware of all the expenses that you typically make. So you have an idea of what you want that pay to be. And here's the thing, maybe you're unsure, but you can change it as needed. It's not set in stone, so just make sure to keep that in mind. Now, based on the timing of your bills, you can figure out how often to pay yourself. So is it monthly? Is it every 2 weeks? That sort of thing. Let's see. And then figure out what you need to break even. So now that you know how much you want to pay yourself, you'll be able to create your business budget. And you'll be able to figure out what you need to break even. So where your company's expenses, all the money going out, equal the revenue, all the money coming in. Next, building a financial cushion for your business. Now you can keep this in your business account, and you can decide what feels comfortable for you as far as how long you want it to last. Because sometimes I see stuff online that says, keep this many months of emergency. But here's the thing, everybody's different. Everybody, like, what is the amount that will help you sleep at night? So it can be 6 months worth, 12 months worth of savings. And then have one also for your personal checking account if you don't have any. If both the business and the personal are so variable, I really feel like having that cushion, that emergency to fall back on, that would reduce so much stress. Then also determine what you will be doing for the low months. Make the decisions now while there's no high emotions. Sometimes you get all stressed out that there's not enough money coming in, and then you get worried and anxious. So right now is a good time. If things are going well in your business, make a plan, make some decisions that you can make for what you will do during those low months. So one of my recommendations is you may have just a standard budget that you have for the day-to-day stuff, but create another budget that you will follow during times when you have those low months. That way you can see, there are certain items probably that you can live without, or that can be temporarily taken out for the moment while you're managing through the lows. And you can cut out some expenses or just reduce some expenses. So make a decision now to create, a plan for those times. And then the last thing is experiment and test. Here's the thing, it may take several attempts to create a system that works for you. And so don't be discouraged the first time around, like it just, there's some things that you miss. It's possible that you can maybe miss an expense here or there, but that's not a problem. Just adjust and then work your system again. It'll take a little bit of finessing, including even the paying. I mentioned earlier about paying yourself. Maybe you figured out maybe you want to increase it, and you can modify that. Just because maybe you might have missed a few of the personal expenses. So starting out, have some grace, think of it as a learning experience, because it's not going to all start out perfect. It will take some time to figure out what works best for you, because sometimes there are stuff, maybe there's stuff like certain plans out there online that you'll follow, but I really think about creating something customizable for you will take a little bit more finessing. And here's the thing, curiosity is the best approach because it focuses more on solutions rather than thinking about what's not working in your process. So just be curious, like, how can this work out better for me? Or how can I accomplish this certain thing, and I feel like really applying anything related to finances, curiosity is one of those things I really feel is something good to have. So now once you implement all this stuff, you will have more confidence. You're going to stop questioning whether you need to get a job, because you'll no longer be wondering if you're making enough. You'll be clear on all your target numbers because you've worked on it intimately. You'll stop being in constant self-doubt, which just causes so much stress. You'll have a plan that just helps create safety for yourself. And think about it, if you're focusing more on all the doubt, you have no time to really focus on how to reach more clients with your marketing or how to make their experience even better. You'll have more impact, including your business. You can increase your revenue. You'll be more present with your family and in your marriage, and to really understand your business, that will help you make better decisions on things, whether you need to raise prices or you need to change your offer. And really, it increases productivity and creativity in your business. And clarity, you'll be able to see gaps in your pricing model and take a proactive approach. You'll be financially prepared for any slow seasons, and it'll open up space to think about what's possible in your business, because you're no longer stuck in that reactionary mode. So I hope that you can at least take one thing that from this presentation, at least one thing, because sometimes with finances, we tend to overwhelm ourselves. And when it comes to dealing with personal and business, we feel like we got to do all these things like all at once. So just take one thing that resonates with you here today that you can start off with. And I will tell you, even just one thing that you can do weekly is enough. It'll make an impact in your business. All right. So that's it for me today on that presentation.
That's awesome. Thank you so very much, Diana. And I am wondering as well, when you start working with clients, what are some of the first steps that you're asking them to take with you? Or what are some of the things that they need to have already sort of put together before they come to you?
Well, it really is about gathering all their numbers. And that's one thing I even walk them through it. Sometimes it can be, like I mentioned, overwhelming, just having to figure out what specific data and from where. Maybe somebody might have several accounts or doesn't know, and even helping them through that process before our initial meeting is something I'm involved with. Mm-hmm. So really is just gathering your numbers, even figuring out like that just makes you realize too, if you need to be more organized, like, so you're not having to dig through all the stuff, I can help you get more organized so that next time it's not that overwhelming as well. So yeah, getting your numbers together.
And tell us about, so I have posted your website. Mm-hmm. Tell us a little bit more about some of the programs that you offer.
Well, I do a 4-month coaching program. And so it really, the first month, it's very intense because it is it's going to be, building that foundation for yourself, because sometimes maybe you might have been trying something that hasn't worked. And so we're building something brand new to see exactly with where you're at with your money. And so the first month is gathering the data, trying to figure out how we talked about in the beginning, like just figuring out what it is that you want, like that dream big, that vision for yourself. Because like I mentioned, we can't get anywhere without really knowing where we're going to go, right? So that's where we start off kind of in the first month. And then the following 3 months, it's really about implementing and like I mentioned, testing, experimenting, and with a coach though, you're able to just stay on track because you don't get discouraged, right? That something's not going right, or maybe like a big whammy, like something comes up in life, life happens and it can derail us sometimes. And so that's where, I play a big role of helping you with your mindset, helping you with your numbers and trying to figure out what's the best process for you, what's the best strategy for you, because sometimes we tend to think what are just looking at the numbers, and we don't think about how it makes us feel going through that process or that way of, with that specific strategy and things like that. So that's what we talk through on all our following sessions, the last 3 months of the program.
Awesome. That's fantastic. I want to thank you so very much, Diana, for joining us this morning and for sharing about Wealth-Worthy Life and about how you get your clients moving forward. I think it's so important that we understand running a small business or running a growing business, because I'm no longer saying small business. Running a business is it's a new way of thinking. You have to ensure that one, you're implementing your own schedules, because someone's not going to be looking over you going, hey, are you doing what you're supposed to be doing? And remembering to pay yourself on a consistent basis. I think that's something that sometimes we forget if you're just getting started out, to really make sure that you're working with someone such as Diana, such as some of the amazing women that we've been featuring this month on the May Money Talks Mastermind, so that when you're starting off, you're setting a nice solid foundation. You know how to set up your accounting book so that you can pay yourself consistently each month, especially with variable income. You know what are your bare minimum expenses that you need to have taken care of with that salary from your business on a very consistent basis. And if this information is new to you, and if you're not sure about how to implement these things, definitely reach out to Diana. I posted her website here in the conversation. When we get over to the YouTube channel, I will make sure her information is posted there as well. If you are not sure who you should be reaching out to or what kind of a professional that you need for your business, reach out to me and I will be your connector. It's one of my favorite things to do is connect women together. And the mantra of the Empowerment Empire is through collective collaboration, we all rise. And I think that is such an important notion to point out, is that as business coaches, as women who specialize in, helping other women to build up their businesses and to build up the work that they're doing, we went into this industry knowing that is where our passion lies. This is why, we strive so hard to do the work that we do, to make sure that women are not sort of floundering out there going, I don't know how to do this, or I don't know how to do that, or not realizing the success of their businesses that they truly can realize if they get that solid foundation put into place, such as your business plan, your financial plans, your strategies, making sure that you have a clear target. Because if you're functioning on a day-to-day basis and you're not actually aiming for something specific, you'll never hit it. So let's define those goals. Let's write those down. Let's speak with a coach. Let's speak with a financial, advisor, someone to help you really define those goals for yourself, for your business, for your family, for your future, for your children's future, and really aim for those targets. When we don't have a plan of action, we're not guaranteed to really hit those targets. So remember to do what you can to really hit those targets. Any final words for us, Diana, before we wrap up our conversation this morning?
Yeah, make sure to just implement something this week, that even if it's maybe there's other presentations from this May Money Talks and you haven't gotten around to it, make space for it on the calendar and implement. That's the action is what's going to help you move forward. Exactly.
I always tell people small steps will lead to great big changes. So just start taking those small steps And every day, just keep moving forward. Some days you'll move a little faster and some days you'll move a little slower. But what the most important thing is you really put yourself out there. You are taking those steps towards the goals that you've defined. Thank you to everybody who has thus far participated in the International Women in Business May Money Talks Mastermind. We have some phenomenal speakers to come, as well as the phenomenal speakers who have already presented. So at the conclusion of our live presentation, I will definitely go back and put in, the links to find us on YouTube, the links to find us in our different Facebook groups, how to connect with us on LinkedIn and different social media accounts. I truly, truly believe through our collective collaboration, we absolutely rise. If you need something, ask for it. Because my grandmother would always say, a closed mouth don't get fed. So ask for what you want, say what you need, and let's work together to help us all really elevate one another and our businesses especially through this month of May and this goal of inspiring and educating and providing insight to women. So, and don't forget, this is also one of our only big fundraisers that we do every year to raise money for the Young Women Entrepreneur Education Foundation. If you go to the registration on Eventbrite, you can sign up as a businesswoman or as an Empowerment Empire partner and donate $100 or $175 or even smaller amounts through the regular registration. Help us build that scholarship fund so that we can provide those scholarships for women in our communities who could certainly use some assistance getting some tools in place to grow and to establish their own businesses. Thank you again so much, Diana. I look forward to connecting space with you again very soon. Yeah. And everyone, have a magnificent Monday. Do great for yourself. Be inspired. Create the change you wish to see in the world, in your own life, in your own business. We'll see you tomorrow morning at the IWB Mastermind May Money Talks. Thank you.
All right, bye.